Hello, friends, and welcome back to the episode. First things I have to tell you is if you are watching this on YouTube, I apologize right now if you would rather be here hanging out with me in paradise than doing whatever it is you're doing. Because this is one of the things that I think is so amazing about being the CEO of a life first business is that I get to make these kind of decisions. So I was talking with a coaching student last week, and we were talking about things that oftentimes you don't think are so important: routine, time management, that kind of stuff, which it really is. But the ability to make changes in your schedule, if you will. Like, I have stuff I have to do, and today is Monday and it's podcast day. And if you take one look at me, you're going to see that here I am recording, got a coffee in my hand. My hair is piled on my head in a messy bun. I'm still in my workout gear. And that is because I wanted to take advantage of sitting out here in this glorious weather because, let's face it, Alabama has been raining a ton, but it's lovely out here. And so I made the decision that I was going to record this podcast out here and enjoy my morning too. So at this point, I don't know, I guess it's 9 o'clock here in the morning. I've done business learning already. I do a spiritual growth practice every morning. I've already gotten my workout in. I hiked with my dogs, and I went on a 2-mile walk. It's 9 a.m. I love this entrepreneurial life, which this is a great segue into what we're going to be talking about today on the podcast, because the topic here about really, how much money can you make as a myofunctional therapist? It is probably one of the biggest things that you guys search for. And again, I'm not real sure why. I think some of that is like, hey, can I actually leave dental hygiene? Or I hate dental hygiene, but I kind of need to put beanie weenies on the table. Is this a real possibility for me? So it's also a great topic to be talking today as we start into our, what we call the pre-launch runway, to take you guys up to the workshop that I'm going to teach at the end of August. And then, of course, at that time, we're going to open the doors to the Profitable Myofunctional Therapist Fall Cohort. So excited about that. We're going to talk about that at the end of the episode. But let's talk about the money stuff. So first things first, I have to tell you, number one, I have to tell you this so that, the FTC doesn't get mad at me or doesn't come after me for making claims that are not likely. You know that fine print at the bottom of everything. When I started my myofunctional therapy business, I had no idea what was possible. Okay. Belief work, possibility work, none of that stuff was obviously part of my training. I took a clinical program. That was it. So I had no idea what to expect. What I knew in my heart that I just wanted was something that could replace my hygiene income. You may not be in the same place. Many of you guys absolutely love hygiene, and I love that for you. It wasn't for me. So I just wanted to not ever have to say 4, 2, 4 again in my life, or scale calc. Okay. That just, my body was tired. It was revolting. I just knew that I couldn't do it forever. So I went into Myo with that mindset of, I just got to get out of here. So I first just want to tell you what my revenue looked like. I've been an open book. You guys have heard about this. My first year was like, I don't know, 28, 30,000, not a ton, but I didn't have my first paying client until May. Okay. Also, remember, this is my story. Okay. This is not saying that your story is going to be the same way. So that's what I earned the first year. My second year in business was like 116, just over 100,000. Okay. I was absolutely blown away because I was hustling, I was working, like I was the queen of the throne doing all the things. Um, Desperate energy. Like I had to make a go of this. Okay, I had no safety net. A lot of you guys really stall because you're just staying, hanging out in hygiene. You're afraid to do the uncomfortable work because you just have that safety net of a paycheck. You're not desperate enough. Okay, your situation is totally different than mine. I thought hygiene was going to kill me. So it grew each year. So that first full year that I was in business, I had six figures, low six figures. I think the next year was same. Maybe it was a little bit more than that. Again, I didn't look up the exact numbers because that the dollars and cents is not the important part of this. So I started my business in 2017, and so 2018 would have been my first year that I earned six figures. And then, so it increased, 2019, 2020, 2021 and 22, crazy. I looked at this the other day with my team when we were building out some financial stuff. Was like my total earnings was like 158, like it was just creeping up towards 200,000. 2023 was 300 and call it 315, 320. So again, I'm growing and growing and growing. Then in the next year, and this is crazy because, man, I have done a lot of work around this myself with my business coaches, is it was over 200,000 less the next year. And you guys, that was all me. That was all me. I just got burned out. I wasn't doing the things that I needed to do. I had made a lot of money, so I had a lot of cushion. And so some of that was my choice. My daughter was going through her cancer treatment. There was just a lot of things going on. Some of it for me, I don't know if you guys have read the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. I think it's Gay Hendricks. Anyhow, I hit my ceiling. That was the highest income that I had ever had. And I just dropped. And so that is still something to this day that's like, oh my gosh, do not set a ceiling for yourself. I'm kind of getting off topic, but anyhow, so I dropped. Some of that was that I just thought, hey, I had already built this business to six figures. It's going to continue to build to be that way. And so I wasn't growing myself personally. I wasn't growing in the additional CEO skills that I needed. So that's what that looked like for me. It has, I have yet to have a year less than $100,000, which is really nice for me. Also at this point, it's no longer about the money. It's more about the freedom, the fact that I get to live wherever I want, and call my shots. So that's kind of what my revenue looked like. Now, if I can wake my computer back up, let's look at my notes, because everybody's always curious, and I don't tell you that to be anything but to show, to be boastful or anything. It's all about possibility. So to go to my next question, how much can you make? Again, making no promises. I think that it is limitless. And the reason that I say that is because depending on how you set it up, how you price it, the beliefs that you have in yourself, all of the things, the work that you do, if you set a damn ceiling for yourself and then like you mess it up for yourself, okay? I think that it's unlimited. And everybody has a different definition of what they consider making good money, what they consider to be wealth. Everybody has their own mind drama, all of that stuff. But to answer the question of how much money can you make? Can you replace your hygiene income? I wholeheartedly think you can, because that's what I did. I started my business in May of 2017. By July, I cut back to part-time. And then by August of 2018 was the last time I ever worked in hygiene. So I think it's possible. because I've done it, but I also didn't make excuses. I did the uncomfortable work. I just did the things, but remember that I was desperate. So let's talk about pricing, setting prices. So when I took my training, I was trained that you would look at your service and you would price it based on kind of thinking about it like an hourly wage. So if you do a session of 30 minutes and you need to make $40 an hour or whatever you make in hygiene, then you would use that number to price. And then I also learned that to do prep work and that kind of stuff, that you would add additional time. So I think her recommendation back then was to double it. So if you were going to do a 30-minute session of therapy, you would figure out a price for an hour because you would do 30 minutes of preparing for therapy and also after therapy. Okay, so that was an okay place to start. The problem is it ties you to, it has you thinking like in an hourly rate. And I wholeheartedly think that that's some of the problem, because this isn't an hourly rate thing, okay? You're not tying your value to that. You're tying your value to the transformation that you bring to the table. What kind of value does somebody put on their problem? Let me tell you, I have had certain problems, and what I'm willing to pay for that is a premium price, okay? My current business coaching program is $1,500 a month. That might make your eyes water. It might not be a big deal to you, but I'm willing to pay that because I have certain things that are a pain point for me and I need help with that. So, so I think that looking at it that way is wrong. Now, the good thing is that also I teach, if you have studied with me or if you're going to study with me, my goal is to get you so efficient. That is the goal, efficiency, getting things dialed in. Now that I have my AI certification, you can bet your booty that those skills are going to be transferring to my students, because especially because you guys are often a one-man show for a long time, being able to have AI skills that help make you more efficient is going to be key. But going back to that efficiency, so if you set your prices based on a 30-minute session of therapy and then 30 minutes of preparing, like I don't prepare anymore. I have a template. I know exactly what that template looks like. I take really good notes. I open, if I start seeing clients at 10, I will open my computer at 9:50. I will open up all the tabs for the day for all the clients, and I'm ready to rock and roll. That's the prep that I do. So I want to go more into the price setting why, okay? So now that I've shared with you like what my income looked like, how I was trained to set a price, first I have to tell you that there is no mayor of my own town. Nothing pisses me off more than somebody who thinks that they are the authority to tell you what you can and can't charge. It's none of their business, first of all. Second of all, think about all the dentists or the chiropractors in your town. Does somebody tell them what they can charge? I know chiropractors that own multiple practices, 10 plus million a year in revenue, and it's more about the experience and the transformation. It's not the trade minutes for dollars type of mentality. And so imagine where those people would be if they listened to somebody say, oh, you can't charge that, okay? Second of all, when somebody tells you that you can't charge whatever that is, you might be taking their own money mindset BS drama and you're taking it in as gospel, okay? Their own limiting beliefs. Why would you take what somebody else tells you you can and can't charge? Who are they to say that, okay? It's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie. Not for 1 second do you need to believe that there is a going rate in your area. When I do unstuck calls with students and they say, well, I've already checked my area and it looks like the going rate is whatever. I said, great. The great thing is we don't care about the going rate because A, you're not charging hourly, okay? Hourly is for like hookers and I don't know, not us. We're not charging by the hour. And we're also not letting somebody else tell us what we can choose, what you can choose to charge. So that's a big thing. And in my own personal experience, I can wholeheartedly tell you that is so true. That people have told me, like, there is no way you can charge that. Here, hold my beer. Watch me, because I do it every day. Okay? So remember, if you're listening to what somebody else tells you that you can charge, you're also inheriting their money mindset and their beliefs. Okay? Now, here's another point I have. Everybody has a different price that they need to successfully have this be a full-time gig, if that's what you're after, okay? If somebody just needs $3,000 a month to pay their bills versus somebody who needs $15,000 a month to pay their bills, their prices are going to be different, okay? The person who needs $15K a month to pay the bills might be investing in more education, might be investing in leveling up, might be saving for retirement, okay? I already mentioned my current business coaching package is $1,500 a month. So my last course that I took, my AI course, $9,000, okay? So my nut is higher. I need more money, not necessarily because I want to buy filet mignon for dinner. It's that my standards are higher for my business. I want to be able to go to that leadership conference in Austin in November. Okay. I want to be able to get in rooms with people who are way more successful, way scarier, way bigger, way have more meaningful knowledge than me. Okay, so that's different than somebody who just needs $3,000 a month to pay the bills. So if you're taking pricing advice from somebody who's telling you what you can and can't choose for your business, they don't know anything about you. You know, when I talk about what you need, what the nut is, what you need to pay your bills, there's a difference between just your enough, which I've talked about before. Enough is just your bottom line that allows you to have more time and freedom, the space to build your business, but you don't stay there. My investment portfolio wouldn't have gotten to where it is if I just stayed there, but you have to grow. And so if I took somebody else telling me what my prices could be, I would have never gotten there. Most certainly would have never gotten there. So there's also a belief thing. So a lot of you guys think that the market sets your price. I've already kind of beat that to death. You might also believe that people can't afford premium and that you need a lot more clients than you need. And I would love to challenge you to shift that belief to something more like, I set my price, 1 premium client beats 5 cheapos. I'll die on that hill every day. My income problem is a structure problem, and a structure problem is something that I can fix. Absolutely. So, a couple more things I want to go over here. You need a price that is livable. Okay. So, like I was just saying, if you need $3,000 to pay your bills, great. But wouldn't it be nice to have a little bit more? Again, I'm not getting extravagant. I'm not just having like dreaming numbers coming in. It's like, what's a livable wage? You are an expert. You are a professional. Does the boss that you work for have a livable wage? Yes. That means if you're setting a per session therapy at $45 or even $100, you might be priced too low. Okay. Is that a livable wage? Is this something that you can make a full-time job? And I'm not my friend, when I say full-time, I'm not talking full-time. I'm not talking 40 hours a week. Because if you fill your calendar to 40 hours a week, first of all, that is not a life first business. That is not getting to live a life in paradise and have white space and to live really intentionally and enjoy other parts of your life. You're never going to want to do Myo 40 hours a week, okay? And if you are, your prices are too low. I can tell you that. So you need a price that is livable. What is that? What do you need for this business 3, 5, 10 years down the road? What do you need? Don't stick your head in the sand. You have to know that so you can set things up for success so that you can get there. You don't just pull a price out of thin air. Many of you guys are just pulling something out of thin air that sounds good, or you're comparing it to an hourly hygiene wage. So, for example, $50 an hour. A lot of people think that's just so fantastic. Well, first of all, out of that $50 per hour, you're not getting all of that because there's somebody called Uncle Sam who wants some of it. There's something called overhead that wants some of it. You need a paycheck. So every dollar that comes into your business isn't a dollar that takes you to Tahiti, okay? So you have to have things priced so that you can earn accordingly. So for example, going back to the $15,000 number, I think my nut right now in my business to pay me what I need for my personal expenses, to pay me for all the savings that I do for my SEP, which is a self-employed pension for self-employed people, to save into my medical, my health savings account, to pay for insurance, to pay for all that stuff, and also save for my taxes and save for overhead. Those are all numbers that you have to know. I do. It's like $11,000 a month. I got to earn it. Okay, next. You need to think like a CEO. So I want to tell you about when I used to do therapy in person. And I talked about this with a new student of mine the other day. She's really bold. She's really go-getter. She's got a lot of big, fun visions for her business. And one of them was that she wants to do kind of a concierge type of therapy business. And she was, just kind of talking about possibilities. Like maybe she'll have a cute little practice office space, and maybe she'll go to people's homes, and maybe she'll do it online, all of those things, which sounds really exciting. And she was so excited about it. But in thinking like a CEO, you have to think about the cost. What does all of that look like? Not only, for a business, you have overhead, commercial, real estate, rent, most likely. You're going to have different insurance rather than, like if somebody comes to your location, you have to have more like a general liability policy versus seeing somebody online. But in my case, this is a great example to point out what I mean by think like a CEO. So when I used to see people in person, I didn't see them at my home. I would see them at the local Starbucks. And I really became known as the idiot in Starbucks with her tongue hanging out of her face because they got so used to seeing me there. But the point of my story is, so my sessions of therapy were 30 minutes. I, however, would have to travel down to Starbucks, so I would have to block out 30 minutes before Sarah's appointment, go do her 30 minutes of therapy, okay? Well, I would have to get there early and pray for a table. Then because I'm not a douchebag, I would buy a coffee so that I wasn't just taking up their space. So now I'm in the whole $8, and I would do 30 minutes session, and then I would have to block out 30 minutes to travel home. So when you think like a CEO, that client of mine was getting 90 minutes of production time so that I could go down to Starbucks and meet her to do therapy. And that was just because they were a family that didn't embrace technology and didn't want to work online. Would I do that today? No. Have I had lots of requests to do therapy in person in my town? all the time. Did I do it? No. Same reason. One mom wanted me to do therapy with her kiddo. I would have had to, same thing, block out time, drive across town. There's gas, there's miles, there's wear and tear on my car. There's all of those things. It wasn't worth it because I couldn't double the price of her therapy. I couldn't triple it because they ultimately were getting 3 times the amount of time that somebody else would. So when I say think like a CEO, you have to be savage. You have to think numbers. I know it doesn't really matter to you, but numbers make a big difference, okay? So that's important. Last, I want to say that you're not selling a session. You're selling a transformation. And that is what you have to figure out the value to your client is. You hear me talk here about different programs that I have. One of those being the Done For You program. The Done For You program is just that. Tons of hand holding. My team and I do the branding. We do the setup. We do the training. We do all of those things. So it is the fastest transformation for any of you to go through because you come in having nothing, no knowledge, no business, nothing set up, no thoughts, none of that. And it's like launching a box. At the other end, if you follow all the instructions, if you do everything right, you have profit. Okay? So that transformation at the price of $13,000 is not for everybody. But for those of you, or for those of my students in the past that were like, yeah, I value that. I'm going to pay for that, and I'm going to do the work, and I'm going to get the transformation. So that's what you have to figure out for your prices. So going back to the whole thought about this whole podcast about like how much money can I make? Well, get your prices right. That's the biggest thing. I did a podcast not too long ago with Brooke, and I'm not sure what episode it was, but we raised her prices, and then she had a $12,000 a month. Okay, obviously, raising her prices, funny enough, helped her with confidence. Okay, so we'll make sure that we have that podcast linked so you can listen to it. All right, my friend. So I know that was a whole lot different, or a whole lot more, I should say, than what you probably thought you were going to get. Is there a number? How much can I earn with this? It all depends on you, your work, how many clients you want. You guys, you've heard me say this before. I train premium therapists, okay? And the reason I train premium therapists is because also my zone of genius is to get you a life first business so you can have peace in your day, so you can have white space, so you can be a more present mama. You can have time to do things in the classroom with your kids. You can take care of yourself. I know a lot of you guys, I've done a poll, a lot of you guys say the first thing that you would do if you had control of your calendar is take better care of yourself. That's the best part. Nothing happens in my day until my cup is full and that I have taken care of myself. And that is so important. So important. So setting your prices is a much bigger thing. But I want to tell you this. So I was talking about premium. I would rather work with one $5,000 client rather than 5 $1,000 clients. It's less time, it's less effort. It lets me to show up in the most amazing way because I have the bandwidth. When you have a more premium price, are you going to hear no more often? Yeah. And that's okay. Because every no that I get, I'm that much closer to a yes. Okay. And so if you do all the work that I talk about, messaging, writing, speaking, doing everything to your ideal customer, that gets easier because when somebody comes to you and they're like, yep, I follow you, I've been reading your material for years, I'm ready, I want the $5,000 package, I'm all in, take my money, here we go. All right, I think we can land this plane, my friend. I could talk about money all day. what this means to you. So if you need help with this, first of all, there's two people that I serve. One, if you're untrained, then the place for you to start is learn myofunctional therapy in 60 days, okay? I teach an ascension model. You're going to go into that program. It's the full clinical program. It has no business. You're going to go into that. It's going to help you get your feet wet. It's going to help get you excited. It's going to get you trained in the clinical stuff. Then you're going to come join me in the Profitable Myofunctional Therapist. That's all the business stuff, okay? And now that's all the business stuff. And learning how to set up all of your departments and learning how to set up and train your AI. Those are all things, because with me being a certified AI architect, I absolutely cannot teach you how to build a business without teaching you how to use AI. I have at this time 54 AI employees that collapse time, collapse hours for me every week. Okay, so if you're untrained, that's where you're going to start. LMT 60. Go get started now, because by the time class starts in September for the fall cohort of PMT, you're already going to be ready to go. That's going to be perfect for you. Now, for you who's trained but stuck, you want to book your unstuck call. The reason I want you to book your unstuck call now is because as we get closer to August 28th, which is when our free workshop is going to be done, it's called Trained But Stuck. You're going to learn how to set up your AI. You're going to leave knowing exactly about your ideal customer. You're going to leave exactly with the stuff that you need to set up your pricing. Of course, I'm going to be teaching you all the AI stuff, not all the AI stuff, but the stuff to get set up. And you're going to get an invitation to join me inside the Profitable Myofunctional Therapist. That cart is going to open that same day. So I don't want you waiting to the last minute, because here's what's going to happen. Everybody's going to want to get unstuck call, and I don't have that kind of time, right? So let's do it now. So if you're stuck and you're trained, book your unstuck call so that we can have a conversation, so we can meet, so you can decide, do you want to work with me? Do I have the credentials that you're looking for? Am I going to bring to the table the transformation that you're looking for? If your transformation is to learn how to set up your business, set up systems, identify who your ideal customer is, price your packages correctly, and learn how to do marketing so that you can get consistent revenue and consistent clients, then I am your girl. Okay, you want to be in that program. So that's what you want to do. Okay, you guys don't be voyeurs. Now is the time. There is no better time to get into Myo than right now. And if you're just sitting back thinking, hey, I'm going to take in all the free stuff, I'm going to get this all figured out, do not do it. If you have an outcome that you are after, which obviously if you're still listening here, you do, then the free material is only going to get you to the door. It's not going to get you through it. And my friend, I'm going to take you through the door. I'm going to take you down the hall, up the stairs, out onto the patio, and teach you exactly how you can build a life you're bonkers about by learning to set this stuff up. So let's land this plane, my friend, because quite honestly, I'm ready to go enjoy some downtime. So I will be back soon, where we are going to talk more about starting, growing, simplifying. And I suppose I should start saying starting, growing, simplifying, and AIing. Say that 10 times fast. Your myofunctional therapy business, my friend. So I love you guys. I'm so happy you were here and you stayed with me through all of this, and I'll be back soon. I'll see you then.